So in the last video, I talked about that moment when your Bronco looked you dead in the eyes and said,
"We're done here."
well, fuck that. I ain't gonna let it happen. Nobody puts baby in the corner. You didn't break your Bronco's tie rod. Ford built a weak-ass link. One bad turn, one loud pop, next thing you know, you're like, guess I fucking live here now. Well, not me, not this time. I'm not gonna wait around for shit to break before I fix it. Hi, I'm John. Welcome to Project Kehm, where we build smarter and not more stupider. All right, let's go break this shit down. In the last video, we talked about whether or not Ford cheaped out. Spoiler, they did. In this video, we're gonna talk about what I did about it and why. So before throwing any money at random upgrades, let's talk about what really matters and what's just bullshit. And yeah, I've got my new setup right here behind me, and we're gonna unbox this in a minute. Let's be honest, some of you are fine. The rest of you Googling tie rod recalls, you gotta listen. If your front end's higher than stock, if you're on 35s or 37s, if you ever turn that wheel while flexed and heard a pop, then yeah, you're on borrowed time. Stop leaning into it before your Bronco leaves you stranded with a map in the middle finger. Nobody gives a damn about the tie rods until the steering starts yelling, what the fuck was that? You lift it, you throw on bigger tires, or you crank the wheel while it's hanging, those stock rods are already sweating, man. I showed all this in the tie rod reality check. The stress, the angles, and why the lower threads get beat to hell first. If you missed that one, catch it after this. This one's about how I fixed the problem before it bit me again. All right, guys, what do you say we open this package up? Straight from Icon, the XD Forged tie rods. No sponsors, no codes, just me showing you what I bought. All right, guys, these are the Icon XD Forged tie rods, and they're made for the 21 through 25 Ford Bronco. Not the Raptor, that's a different animal. So this whole thing right here, this is your inner and outer tie rod assembly. This intersection right here is CNC machined from 4140 chromoly, and that's the strong stuff. So, and just so you know, the shiny part at the end isn't the chromoly itself. That's just the machined area where everything threads together. The strength is in the body itself. Now this part right here is kind of the big deal. Icon bumps this thread up to 18 millimeters. That's 4 millimeters larger than what the stock Bronco is. And that's pretty much where everybody snaps theirs. The outer tie rod is forged steel, and it keeps its factory bend. That bend right here is what gives the clearance for OEM wheels and basically all the common aftermarket setups. And on the end, you've got a beefy, greasable tie rod end. Metal on metal, rebuildable, serviceable, built to hold up under load instead of getting sloppy. Icon says the whole assembly is roughly 30% larger in diameter than the Haas 1.0 and 2.0 rods. And honestly, you can feel it. The whole thing just has more meat on it. And quick reminder while we're here, stock Bronco tie rods weren't made for 37s or rock crawling torque. They're fine for the mild stuff, but once you throw bigger tires and real trail load on them, that little 14 millimeter thread becomes the fuse. And I should mention that upgrading to something stronger does move the weak point further up the system, usually towards the rack. And that's just the reality right there with any tie rod upgrade. But for what I do, bigger tires, desert crawling, forest roads, this is exactly the level of upgrade I need without jumping into race truck territory. So before I bought anything, I dug around. I wasn't about to bolt on some random shit just because the internet said so. Everybody online yelling heavy duty everything, but half that shit doesn't even fit a normal build. Some of it's overkill, some of it's maintenance hell, and some of it just don't fit right. So I made a short list, stuff that actually makes sense for a Bronco that gets used. So Icon XD Forged, this is one that kept coming up from people who actually wheel their Broncos. So it made sense to listen. It's got forged outers, 4140 chromoly inners, sealed ends that don't need constant grease, which is a plus, bolts right to the Haas rack, no adapters, and no funky geometry. And every honest review kept circling back to Icon. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, just the one that works and the one that makes sense for my rig, and that's why I picked this. So Turn Offroad HD, beautiful machining. Billet aluminum, big ends, it's got that full desert runner energy. But I don't know, man, for 700 bucks, you're just buying a race part for a trail truck. Unless you're hammering whoops at 60, it's just extra weight and extra money. Apex, that's what Core 4x4 is selling now for the Bronco. And it's not bad. Chromoly body, sealed ball ends, it's got no Heims to rebuild, no squeaks when it rains. And around $360, that's a solid upgrade for a daily driver that still plays off-road. It's basically OEM Plus, stronger, cleaner, and zero headaches. Fabtech's kit is a heavy steel with big ball studs and beefy tube. The price lands right around $400, and it looks solid and it bolts right up. Only catch, there's not a whole lot of long-term feedback out there yet. So we'll wait and see. This could be a sleeper, or it could be just fine. I don't know. Time will tell. So the Rough Country kit actually surprised me. It's got forged steel, it's way thicker than stock, and it actually bolts right up to the Bronco. It's not pretending to be a race part, it's just tougher, period. And for about 250 bucks, man, you can't do much better. It's the best get-you-buy option out there, without a stupid price tag. So that's the real short list, guys. Some are wild, some are smart, but Icon still hits that middle ground. Strong, proven, and serviceable without that stupid price tag. And that's what built smart looks like. So here's why I don't wait for parts to fail. I'd rather pay for prevention than a tow truck. I mean, pick your path or call the heavy iron, your choice. Factory tie rods, about 125 bucks. Not bad until it snaps halfway through a trail and you're 20 miles from pavement. Then comes the $400 flatbed tow, if you can even get one out there. That's that oh shit tax. And the downtime, no wheeling, no miles, no weekend, and if it takes out the rack along the way, that's another grand gone easy. So by the time you add the parts, the hassle, and the Eagle tax from your buddies roasting you all week, that cheap fix turns into a $1,400 lesson. So yeah, 413 bucks for Icons to avoid this bullshit? That's an easy choice. It's not expensive, it's insurance. Pay once, don't pay twice. So here's why I'm rolling with Icon. Yeah, I have a few other parts, but I'm not chasing the logos or drinking the Kool-Aid. I just buy what works. So I've got the Bilstein 6112s up front, the Icon UCAs. Out back, I've got the Rock Jock uppers and lowers. I've got the Fabtech relocation bracket, and I've got the Icon adjustable track bar. And geometry-wise, it just all clicks, so this made sense. And here's what sold me on it. Forged chromoly, sealed, no grease fittings, no noise, no drama. And after seeing people break tie rods hitting potholes, that kind of stuck with me. I'm gonna be throwing 37s on this, so I don't want to dick around. So sure, the weak point moves up the rack, but I'm not chasing trophies. And I don't want my front end exploding when I'm dodging javelinas out in the desert. I don't need a race truck, I just need my steering to survive on the weekends when I'm out being idiots with my friends. And this is a sweet spot. Not overbuilt, not flimsy, bolted on, torque it down, get on with life. Not everybody needs upgraded tie rods, so don't believe everything you hear. A lot of it's bullshit. If you're stock height, probably not. If you're on 40s and hitting the dunes, then yeah, but you'd be bracing the rack and running Heims. But if you never leave the pavement, save your cash. Your biggest obstacle is the Starbucks curb. No sponsors, no freebies, just me buying what makes sense for my Broncos. Cause steering ain't where you want to cut corners. Don't polish the hubcap when the tie rods are snapping. You don't want to break down next to a javelina. See how that one goes. So hit subscribe, join this crew, cause we are more reliable than that Ford tie rod. If you want to see why the stock tie rods fail, go watch the tie rod reality check. That's what convinced me to upgrade my tie rods. And thank you for watching.